My name is Tim Lecouteur. I'm from Manchester, Connecticut. I repair submarines for a living. I'm an atheist and I'm openly secular. Coming from a religious family, my first thought was to start studying other religions to see if there was another religion that made more sense than what I was brought up in. So I did a lot of research on Judaism and Islam and Buddhism and pretty much anything I could get my hands on. And the more I learned, the more I realized that none of it made any sense at all. For a long time, I identified it as an agnostic because I was tired of looking. And I decided it was something that I couldn't really figure out. And then several years after that, the more I kind of became apathetic on the subject, and it never really affected me until I was in the military, and I felt a little bit more pressure. And the more pressure I felt at the time, because I was still kind of angry about my upbringing, I felt it necessary to push back. And yeah, it was that discrimination that I saw, you know, people basically like not taking me seriously because I didn't believe in something that wasn't there. And I was like, why is my point of view less valid than yours? And so that's when I became more of that's when I dropped the idea of being an agnostic and became an atheist and became more vocal about it. It started in boot camp. When I was in boot camp, people got together, you know, our whole division got together every night for a prayer. And those of us who chose not to were looked down upon by almost everybody else. People with religion tend to get different treatment in that, like, on Sunday mornings, the people who want to go to service can go to service, but you know, when you're on the boat and there's work to be done, they're like, oh, hey, you're not going to service. Guess what? You have to do this now. So, and it never made sense to me. And I always felt like, you know, I was getting work lumped on me because, you know, and I don't know that it was, you know, they were looking at me as like, oh, hey, let's give it to that atheist guy. It was more of like, oh, he doesn't have anything better to do, like pray. So guess what? More work. It was more on a person-to-person level. And I don't, in fairness, I don't think it was a product of the military culture. I think it was just the people that I happened to be surrounded upon. You know, I was stuck in a ship with certain people, and those people made it uncomfortable for me. Every time you say atheist, they're like, oh, well, you're hateful, and oh, you know, the only thing that defines an atheist is the rejection of the idea of God based on lack of evidence. That's it. That's all there is to it. And every time you say atheist, they're like, oh, you're angry at God, or oh, you want to take prayer out of, you know, you want to keep me from praying in my home. And there's so many misconceptions, and it's all terrible. The only thing that it means is the rejection of the idea of God based on lack of evidence. But until people become more vocal about it, the people that have those misconceptions are still going to continue to think that we are something that we're not.